Greetings, everyone. I'm Angelo Robles, and I bring to you an overview into exceptionalism in the family office. This is one of a family office masterclass presentation. Now, my special exceptionalism in the family office, because many of you have asked, my traditional master classes, which I beta rolled out a couple of months ago, are 24 plus hours. They are a lot of instruction, a lot of immersion, a lot of conversation, and a lot of Q&A, which is all good. But not all of you are going to have the time for that, or potentially the cost as such may also not make it as attractive. So many people have reached out to me, and I'm always reluctant to do something that is overly short, because to me, that's not true deep immersion. That's not a true masterclass. It's an overview. And sometimes as a guest on other podcasts and platforms, I do a short variation of that. But I think the minimal that I could do is 4 hours to make it truly immersive, educational, and a variety of different voices, not just me. So to give you all a little bit of context, many of you may know me as being the founder and longtime CEO of FamilyOffice Association, which I sold earlier in 2023 after many years. And for many families over near 2 decades, I created or reimagined their single family office. And after I sold FOA, I kind of disappeared a little bit. I needed a little time off into the wonderful mountains of Wyoming primarily, and really had a chance to travel across the US and Europe, primarily Central Europe. And really the late summer in 2023, kind of reemerge, reinvigorated, and with a vision for all the people that I met and spoke to in terms of what they're looking for. And I think the community is wickedly lacking deep, immersive, critical thinking education that hopefully could be presented in somewhat of a dynamic fashion and touch upon things that I don't think any other people, and I know a lot of them and I respect so many, but I think they tend to be very focused on philanthropy, very focused on family governance, very focused on investing. Of course, that's the lowest hanging fruit, but something that truly brings it together. I mean, I've always been a fan, and I know he's not the most dynamic speaker. He passed away a while ago, but the intellectual work of Peter Drucker as an extraordinary consultant, and of course, the iconic Jim Collins and the work of Good to Great and other books, and trying to marry the critical thinking and deeper intellectual rigor of those two, which I'm not saying that I'm them, they're amazing, but I have great respect for them, and others, and channeling a little bit of that traditional creative, that combination thought into be something that could be truly special in the family office world is what I've strived for. So as I noted, this 4-hour masterclass, Exceptionalism in the Family Office, is going to be taught over 2 nights back to back, live digitally. That means live, that you could be immersive in it. It's going to be done on Zoom. So the opportunity for those that elect to participate is Monday, February 12th, and Tuesday, February 13th, 7 to 9 p.m. I'll go a bit longer, especially if there's Q&A. Eastern time, I might add. For those that do participate, AngeloRobles.com, go to my masterclass tab. There probably is going to be a link relative from this video, if you're watching it on LinkedIn or another platform, that could take you directly there to very quickly, I made it easy, sign up and pay. Again, you respect what you pay for. You're committed and you get value out of it. I've been in the community a long time, and I know that I'm going to provide value that is going to be different than what anyone else could give you, specifically in the single family office community. For those that do participate, They will also receive a replay of both back-to-back evening sessions, a copy of the PDF effectively presentation, as well as I want to be there to answer their questions live and make it immersive, but also the opportunity to schedule 1 hour of my time where we could talk about areas pertaining to the presentation and other aspects of the single family office. I'd love to give you 1 hour of my time. Now, my traditional master classes, creating and reimagining into a top 1% family office, to do that justice is about, really 24 to 26 hours of immersion done over multiple days in person, sometimes one-on-one. And I bring in kind of my dream team via Zoom, although sometimes in New York, and maybe one day soon, Jackson Hole, Wyoming. You could all join us in person, at least some of my dream team. I don't know if all of them want to come, especially in the winter, to Jackson Hole, but you don't know what you're missing. And my other one, sovereign risk and disaster preparedness for the super rich. There is nothing like that one anywhere in the world. And elements of both do make it into this brief, to me, 4-hour quote unquote masterclass. So you're going to get some of the highlights, and I'm happy to answer specific questions. But the real deep dive, sure, even 4 hours is nowhere near doing it enough justice. So I will share some insights on the topics to be covered from the curriculum shortly. My desire is to make this exclusive content come to life, to have some dynamic element to it, to be immersive, to share stories. Most family office content, let's just be honest, it's tired, it's boring. And is it really practical? Is it really how things work, creating or reimagining in the trenches? Often not. It's theoretical, often by professors, sometimes at wonderful universities and programs, sometimes conflicted, sometimes not. Your call to make. I just find it, to me, often very limiting. I do want to make this provocative, powerful, but also practical. There were some comments that came in from some of my masterclass programs I did that were under an hour for other programs I was invited to, and some of my beta. Some comments were, Angelo possesses an extraordinary depth of wisdom. They're being a little kind. An exceptional ability to think critically. Well, that part might be true. Another, I've been awake since 3 a.m. Wow, I'm having an impact on sleep. That's not good. Processing all the information from Angelo's masterclass, his insights on finding the right people resonates deeply. And lastly, love Angelo's unapologetic viewpoints. I will be blunt. I will be direct. Some of you may not like what I say. Again, let's forget the facade of being vanilla, the facade of not going down certain roads, which are very important to go down in something like a 4-hour masterclass that I want you to be a part of. Now, some of you have been asking, if I can't make those dates, well, it could still be available via download and still the 1 hour with me, but I will do other 4-hour variations of that masterclass, as well as others, including sovereign risk, including technology, upcoming throughout the year. So I'm going to make it very blunt. Not every family or family enterprise will survive, let alone thrive during turbulent times. The number one threat last year and projected heading into this year in 2024, right now we're early in February 2024, is something that I'm very fluid in, that I have a lot of expert thought leaders that I bring in and often challenge the hell out of them. And in all the reports from last year, it came down often to geopolitics. So that's going to be very important, understanding the economic and the dynamic landscape that's before us. And people just kind of don't want to talk about that. Trust me, I will. Every problem consumes time and energy, which results in a utilization of resources, aka money, if nothing else. Not procuring the best solutions can be devastating and perhaps not fully known until well after the fact. That alone could put most family offices either under or behind an 8 ball that they may not be able to get out of. Perhaps even worse, maybe they're solving the wrong problem. That's tantamount to not really solving the problem at all. Again, channel the great Peter Drucker, Jim Collins, and others. Be a deeper thinker. Make it practical. Be great. Don't just be mediocrity. Don't just hide and settle for mediocrity and 9 to 5. If you want to be great in a family office, I'd even say efficiency is somewhat overrated. I want to be effective. I want to be incredible. And then potentially you make efficiency come. But efficiency often makes us a little soft. You have to be careful. You have to understand the dynamics. I've been in some of the biggest single family offices in the world. I've traveled the world. I've always met with families and family offices when I do so, and I want to understand what great looks like. I think over 20 years, I've seen it. Average, good, and great. Speaking of that subject, average family offices want to be left alone. It's the vast majority. I know, not mathematically perfectly an accurate comment. Trust me, that's the vast majority. Good family offices want to be mentored. And you know what great family offices want? You're supposed to say, Angelo, tell me. They want to be told the truth. I like to cover why family offices fail. And I think it's actually in some ways pretty simple. Inevitably everything comes to an end in a long enough time horizon. But oftentimes the failure of the family, we've heard of shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations. I would say the family office has no chance to even come close to that. This is just a reality. But there are things both the family and the family office could do. There does need to be somewhat of a succession plan, which unfortunately is too sensitive of a topic in many a family office. By the way, when I'm traveling the world and meeting with some incredible family offices, some family offices are simply overwhelmingly better than others. It is so obvious. It's stark. They're rigorous, they're ruthless, and they're fast. They don't, well, I was going to use a word that ends with a CK. Why don't I be a little nice for a change? But in the masterclass, I'm going to let it rip. But they don't mess around. That's the nice way to put it. In the end, you often don't have a how problem. You have a who problem. Solve that, and you effectively solve everything. Now, I'm going to, for the final 2 or so minutes, bring up my core PowerPoint so you have maybe a little bit of context on curriculum. As well as, again, I've designed a series of the most immersive and results-driven. At the end of the day, what do most family offices want? They want results and they want access. We may have to save that latter one for a different time. By joining the masterclass, you're not just participating, you're actively future-proofing. A masterclass is far more than what me and others as lecturers, really it's your imagination. It's what you hear and see into it, and your commentary and your immersion, and things that I learn often from you. As we learn more, our beliefs should change. Have strong opinions with a thesis, but I could argue, weakly held. Okay, I don't know if some of you could see the screen. I try to get a little creative on my titling and various, and it's a lot of sections over 4 hours. This is a deep 4 hours, and I'm probably going to throw in more time. And then you get the one-on-one on top of it, all for well under, I don't know why I'm doing this, well under $1,000. So I highlight a couple of my sections that stand out. Where there is light, and I dabble a little bit in philosophy and poetry and love history. So that is going to work its way into how my brain thinks in both critical thinking and creativity, which again, I told you is different. May not be everyone's cup of tea, but if you want something different that is more than just the boring crap and the vanilla shit that you're going to get, well, then I have something special for you. Where there is light, shadows can be expected. There's always going to be problems, but learning how to engage the family, the rising generation, how to have them become anti-fragile. And then you're touching upon the real subject of continuity in the family, and the greatest threat to the family is the family, but the greatest advantage to the family is also the family. But I'm giving away a little too much. I'm looking at section 2. I hinted at it earlier. Geopolitics as the number one concern. Oh, I could go deep into that. That you could get 24 hours direct from me. And I'll give you feedback from families around the world that I meet, some that go back literally 1,000 years or longer. No joke. And they'll talk about that as well. But I'm also going to tell you number 2 and 3 and how, as a family office, you could address it. Are there families now in the US and around the world that have enough resources to theoretically already have what could be a 1,000-year legacy? Well, how about this? We'll bring into the program, via my trip to Austria and became friendly with him, a gentleman whose family goes back over 1,000 years of effectively near continuous wealth. Sometimes governments just take it, but I may have some secrets about that. So, or more importantly, he is. I see another section. Oh, you're going to get my little history. Are you a historian or a revolutionary? Often neither both, and you have to work on that. It's important to respect history. It often rhymes. There are lessons learned in history in general, also the history of family offices and great people that came before you. Have respect for elders and have respect for those from a different time. There are lessons you could learn. Human nature, psychology. I do love evolutionary psychology and biology as well. I'm going to try to make this a pretty cool kind of 4 hours for you. But you do got to have some revolutionary in you. If you really want to be a great family office, it can't just be all being a historian. I talk about solving the right problem. I hinted at that in one of my comments earlier. You very well, with the principal or the family, may not exactly be solving the right problem. We'll get to that. I talk about 7 core areas for effectively results for the family office. I talk about the Global Wealth Report and investments for families around the world in various regions and kind of some of their focus. I talk about virtual family offices. It's trendy, more outsourcing, remote work, technology. I'm very fluid in technology. We're going to go a little glimpse into that in here, but that's a little bit more part of my 24+ hour program. But I may do a separate 4 hours about that as well. I think a virtual family office could work, but I will tell you, and probably the only person in the community who's telling you this, a lot of remote stuff, and you're not going to want to hear this. It's bullshit. It doesn't really work. It could, but you got to do it right. So I spoke to some that are doing it right, put in some of my own thoughts, and now you might have a fighting chance. I talk about international domiciles. I very much consider myself a global traveler, a global citizen, from the Middle East to Europe to LATAM, to North America, to all around. I enjoy travel. I enjoy the opportunity of meeting amazing people. And if you want to be engaged, involved in the single family office world, you have to understand domicile and structures. It's very, very important. Jurisdictions, fluidity, optionality. What jurisdictions outside of the US are some of the best? Of course, I'm going to tell you, even in my little 4 hour program, some of these secrets. I mentioned earlier, looking at my curriculum, why family offices fail. I talk about 10%, but you need some context to that, don't you? You're probably looking at it right there. What does Angelo mean by that? You're going to have to be a part of the masterclass. You'll get a little kick out of it, but sadly, it's very true. 6 steps to success in a family office. And I will tell you, I think the best raw manager that I've ever met in a single family office, the number one, and he's been to 3 of them. This guy turns around family offices like there's no tomorrow. He often doesn't even change the people. He works with them. And he loves Jim Collins too. This guy will take you from average to good and good to great. And there's one thing, the number one thing he does to get better results. If you do this, I literally think within 1 week, you'll have better results in the family office. But you and the employees may not like it. I don't care if you like it. You're here to be great. You're getting paid properly. If not, you got to negotiate that. We could talk a little bit about comp in the family office as well. You got to kind of get on the same page with the family. But you got to be great. You have more power to negotiate, more competence and confidence in yourself if you know how to get results. And again, results is kind of number one. Most thoughts, as you see maybe there on the screen, honestly, most of your thoughts, they don't work in today's world. How the world works is different. And most of what you know that is right doesn't mean SHIT anyway. So how do you focus on what's important and what matters? I will talk about avoid slowing down. And I got some interesting insights on that. Us old codgers, we got a trick or two up our sleeve. And we know a lot, and a lot of you young ones could learn. But I agree, we got to be good listeners. We got to incorporate, again, a lot of principles and technologies that a lot of you are doing. But I got some interesting thoughts on that. We already, I believe, went over, I'm going to go back to the core slide, and I'm going to wrap this up in effectively about 1 more minute. Let me get this a little bit off screen. So, okay, I am really excited. I love to teach. I love to make it immersive. And I want you to be a part of my Family Office Masterclass. And you may be watching this via LinkedIn video or one of my social platforms. Of course, follow me on all of those. But you really got to go to angelorobles.com. If nothing else, go to my Masterclass tab on there. Although I think my other aspects could be valuable to you as well. But this is my love. It's teaching and educating. Do I do other things within the single family office world? Of course. I need to be diverse. Things change. We have to adapt. But what I love, and what is not necessarily the most profitable thing in the world, but that's okay, is I want to teach because I think what is out there now is really, and it sounds like I'm dumping a bit on the community. I don't mean to. It's just a lot of it isn't that good. I got something special for you. Something special that I've learned over decades. I've learned from others. I was a sponge. And I bring some others, at least 1 or 2 others, into even the short form program and even some extra videos that I'll give you. So it's a different voice, of course, other than me. But it's really best live, even digitally, because it's immersive. It's at the moment. You could type in questions. You could ask me questions. I'll even give you my cell phone and you could text me. We'll make it a great experience. So if you go to that, you'll notice I'm only charging $575. You're getting 4 of my best hours of my immersion, of the work I've done as the founder of Family Office Association, of knowing thousands of families and family offices, working closely with well over 100 plus, and having worked in some level of consulting and work with effectively dozens of them. And I want to share that. I want to share a lot of insight. I think the community's been a little hard-headed relative to understanding that things are changing. It's becoming dynamic. What worked a year ago or 5 years ago may absolutely not work. And that goes back to family offices failing. And often that will lead the trend to families failing. Yeah, I get a little passionate. I could be a little loud. Look beyond that. Although hopefully I make it immersive and engaging. look about what I could bring to the table with critical thinking and a deeper focus from my experiences, and bring you things that I just don't see. And I think I kind of know practically everyone globally in the community after being in this for decade after decade. So have a chance to sign up. Again, February evening, 12th, that's a Monday, and 13th, that's a Tuesday, 7 to 9 Eastern. If you can't make it, there'll still be the digital recording. And I'll even give you an hour and a half personally, so it can make it more immersive because you're getting the digital without being live to interact in it. But I will do other exceptionalism in the family office absolutely throughout the year. And probably there'll be some dynamic of change as I learn new things every day and I update a lot of my stuff usually on the weekends. But I also have so much more in creating and reimagining a top 1% family office, in sovereign risk, which is just a passion of mine. And I go so deep into that. It'll be a wonderful and a slightly scary ride. And technology in the family office and the advent of AI and just so much more. This will be an amazing year. Utilize me. I hope to be a resource to you. Again, follow me on all socials. This one is right around the corner. It's going to be a week away from where many of you are watching or hearing this video now. Trust in me. I get it. My longer form classes are long and pricey, and they're worth it. It's a drop in the bucket. Move forward. Learn. You'll get results. You'll get access, if nothing else, access to me and effectively at least a part of my dream team, my Rolodex. So go to angelorobles.com to learn more, and specifically at the Masterclass tab. My email is angelo@angelorobles.com. You can reach out to me anytime. I hope you enjoyed this. I promised it was going to be like a 10-minute overview. And of course, I'm going on near half an hour. Like I did state, I am passionate. Thank you all so much. And I look forward to hopefully seeing you at the Masterclass.